I really tried to do it. I really told myself that I wasn't going to make this video. But after watching and finishing Arcane, I thought, how could I not? So now I'm here. This video will obviously contain spoilers from both Season 2 and Season 1, so if you haven't finished them, shoo. Anyway, it's hard to start, or where to start rather, but here. I must admit, I was scared when walking into this season. I genuinely wondered how they were gonna pull it off. I think Season 1 set up the characters perfectly for some sort of change, but at the same time, how could you really do it? And Season 2, I think, left me genuinely satisfied for what road they took. They definitely leaned into the more magic side of things, which, I mean, makes sense, since the show is literally an adaptation of League of Legends. But I must admit, at many times, it left me confused, but it's hard not to catch on when the visuals are just so damn good. And I think this, at least for this season, is something you'd have to just re-watch to truly understand its layers. I think it's definitely its own beauty, and it's not afraid to sort of deviate from what it did in Season 1, but still maintaining what we loved about it. Like I said, the visuals, but also the music, it really just puts you at the edge of your seat, truly pulled into whatever is going on the screen, even if you don't really know what's going on. It's just good. It's really, really good. And I would rant on and on about the show, but I really want to just keep it short and sweet and highlight my sort of initial thoughts about it. Like I said earlier, messing with magic and entering alternative timelines really sets you up for the difference this season has compared to the first. It foreshadows why certain things take place and sort of gives reason to what makes a good world good and a bad world bad, which honestly really just comes down to Hextech. As seen in Powder's world, when she hides away the power, Zaun and Piltover unite and not have a conflict. But compared to Jace's world, Hextech really consumed the world and it really showed what it was capable of, which is kind of funny since Heimeldinger literally predicted this in Season 1 when he first saw the core, just labeling his amount of genius, so yeah, that's great. But yeah, Heimeldinger, God, for me, probably the most impactful death of this season, next to Isha. He was such a joy to have in both of the seasons, and his dorkiness, at least for me, was just hard not to like, and I presumed he sacrificed himself as really the only way getting Echo back to his own timeline. And Isha too, she was the only one to die because of Jace's blow to Victor, and it was cruel, but honestly a good way to wrap up episode 6. It put Jinx into misery and was almost the reason why she took her own life. Oh, you cruel writers. I know some people might think Isha was a very random character to add within the universe, but it really showed Jinx for what she truly is. She never really wanted to continue Silco's revolution, and the only reason she really shot that rocket in the first place was because, well, she wanted to feel useful. Vi created Jinx, and Powder had always thought of herself as being useless and had always just screwed things up, and Jinx shooting that rocket sort of just shows that she wasn't really useless at all. But once the effects came, she didn't really know what she wanted, and maybe the thought of being valuable or worshipped even by Zaun was just not what she hoped for it to be. But that's where Isha came in, and it sparked in Jinx that in reality all she ever really wanted was a sister and a calm life, really, which was sort of confirmed with Powder in the alternative timeline. But once Isha was taken away from Jinx, she really believed that it just wasn't worth it anymore, and even when attempting to create a calm life, she's still a Jinx in the end. This is why she will forever be my favorite character within this series, because I genuinely believe they nailed it with her, and a lot of that credit goes to Ella Purnell herself. I think she did a phenomenal job in creating these emotions that just really stick to me. There's not many shows or things that can connect with me in a way that I just want to gatekeep it and just shoo everyone off, but as a viewer, we all get to hold on to these types of things together. Though I would prefer not to. This is my show, specifically Powder, so shoo. But no, Reed Shannon as Echo did a spectacular job, and Haley Steinfeld as Vise, obviously she's gonna hit it out of the park, and this season has so many details that I would just love to take a deep dive into, but I just simply don't have enough time to go through those things. And this is the part where I had to rewrite my script, as I, and probably many, were disappointed with the ending, as Jinx had seemed to die, which for me, most definitely unnecessary. I knew that she was most likely alive, but at the back of my mind, I just had a feeling she was truly gone, which kind of dragged me down. But now, I understand it. Jinx is not dead. She simply faked her death to break the cycle. To break the cycle that Silco had mentioned. There's the obvious signs, such as how her body was never shown, or when Kate was quote-unquote investigating the tunnel to where Jinx had fallen down. But for me, the most obvious sign was the hot air balloon ship thingy leaving Piltover at the end of the show. She'd always wanted to ride these things, even pretty much being the first thing she said in the show back in season 1.
One day, I'm gonna ride in one of those things.
And the thing that nails it in the coffin for me is the fact that Jinx's effect plays at the end. So, Jinx is alive, and this ending is way more satisfying than I originally thought. But, I mean, I must admit, it's still like bittersweet because she is still running away from it all, but I mean, I think it's better than her taking her life, so that's a bonus. But yeah, my other complaints would be that some parts maybe felt like forced or rushed, and maybe for a final season, it wasn't like the best at answering some questions, but I don't want to drag this video on for further, so I'm gonna just let my past self speak. So, and I think the other main highlights in this show definitely have to go to Echo and Victor this season. I think Victor being the quote-unquote big bad in the end really just wrapped it up well for me, and I think it's going to be really interesting to re-watch the show from the beginning, just knowing that this is going to be the person who just tries to make a change to the world and pretty much becomes a god, which, you know, kind of reminds me of a certain Titan Shifter, but that's besides the point. And Echo, just bravo. I think he really brought it home this season. He saved Jinx and pretty much the world multiple times, and he was really the boy savior this season. And again, I would just keep on going on and on, but I just know this video would just be endless at that point. So, I'm not gonna do that. Anyhow, I'll stop ranting now, and this show will most definitely stick on my mind for a couple months to come. And as for a rating, I think this show deserves a 9.5, both as a whole and for season 2 as well. But yeah, thank you, Ella, for performing so well as Jinx, and same with all the voice actors who really just made this for what it is. The writers, the animators, just everyone behind the music. It's just the team in general. Just thank you for making something just so beautiful. Just thank you for the ride of Arcane. I don't really know what to say, just for both this season and the last. So yeah, I'm done glazing this now. It's been fun, but yeah, I'm done now. That's been me. Have a good night. See ya.